Okay, so we're back looking at the wipers, which, if you remember from the end of the last video about the wipers where we rebuilt the motors, which are behind here, they didn't work. So what we're going to do is, I've got a little one of those hand operated vacuum pumps, and we're just going to do a bit of a test of the system, see if we can figure out where the problem is. You know, do the motors actually work and we've got leaky pipes? Are the pipes fine and we've actually got a vacuum pump that doesn't work properly, which is down mounted on the engine? So we will see. Okay, so this is my test setup now. So I've got vacuum pump here. I'm using this as sort of like a vacuum reservoir essentially. The reason that I've had to go into the pipe here rather than on the nipple with this pipe is a little bit big for this. So basically what I've done is I've pulled this off the T that's behind here, because basically one line comes up and then tees off to go this way to that one and that way to that one, and then just using an adapter between these two. Now, yeah, okay, so what I'm going to do, well, let's try it, let's see what happens. So you see, yeah, we're not building any vacuum. So I think that probably means there's a leak in the motor, to be honest, because that's all we're hooked into. Which probably means I'm going to have to pull these both apart again. I imagine it's probably the gaskets. If you remember, we didn't replace the gaskets in them. So what I'm going to do is see if we get anything out. I'm going to pinch this pipe off, build some vacuum in here, and we'll see. Yeah, there we go. See, we're built. Oh, we were building vacuum until over here pulled the pipe off. Jam that back on there. Grab a hold of that. Pinch that. Build us some vacuum up. There we go. There's a good amount of vacuum. Right. Pretty sure. I think out is that way. Let's see what happens. Can always push it in. Nothing. Didn't even try to move. And I can hear the air. I can hear it pulling air in through this region somewhere. So I think that's fairly conclusive. Okay, so the kit we were using is a vacuum brake bleeding kit. A really cheap one, mind. It's like 12 quid on Amazon. Honestly, I think the pump and the blow molded case is probably the best bit of it. Yeah, the adapters have sort of flashing on them. They're not great. The pipe is just cheap pipe. A really small pot. Anyway, 12 quid on Amazon. Vacuum pump works. Can't complain. So yeah, I'll get them pulled out. We'll get them back to the workshop and we'll go from there. Cool. Okay, we're back in the workshop. Apologies for the noise, it's the heater. I'm not turning it off. It's cold in here. I think it's like 5 degrees outside and it's about as cold in here. Anyway, we're back here. We're gonna put together our test setup again, just so we can nail down exactly where they're leaking. I'm 90% sure it's probably the gasket between the top cap and the main body, but I mean, it's more just to make sure that's the only place it's leaking, and it's not leaking from, say, like the valve or somewhere in the back here. So yeah, let's do that. I'll bring you back once I've got that all set up. Okay, right, let's try and show this. We'll start with this one as it's already hooked up. I'm actually, what you can see, I'm pinching off the pipe, so I'm going to build some vacuum pressure first. Do a nice good vacuum. Right, and we're going to watch the spin, and I'm going to release my pinch on the... I'm going to stop pinching. Oh, words are so difficult. You'd never believe. Right, let's see what it does. Okay, it didn't do a lot that time. That's right. Same deal. Just pinch that off. Build up some vacuum. Okay, let's see what it does. Nothing. Oh, there we go. We're back with some more parts. Got some gasket paper. I was all out of gasket paper, so I got a couple of different thicknesses there, just to restock a little bit. And a tool I've actually needed for quite a long time, and I've always borrowed somebody else's. A rivet gun. Yes, it is a cheap rivet gun, but I do barely any riveting, so there's no point buying an expensive one. And a nice big pack of rivets. So hopefully we've got the right size in there for what we need to repair this, because I figure to put a new piece of rubber on there, we're going to have to drill out this old rivet. If it focuses, come on. Come on now, focus. Yeah, it's still a bit of a piss poor job, but anyway, I figure I'm going to have to drill that rivet out and then replace it with a rivet of some form. I'm going to go with a pot rivet. We'll see how it works out. Right. Okay, as you can see, things have escalated slightly. We have two more. I'll explain why. Basically, we're going to make 2 good ones out of these 4. Excuse me. So, I'll probably show you a little bit on this one. Now, I don't know how well you can see it, but the face that this valve runs against is quite pitted, and what we're having a problem is not sealing. We dealt with all the other vacuum leaks in these two, but yeah, the problem is that valve just will not seal. Put some grease in there, it seals sort of, but not reliably. Now I had a go at seeing if I could file out those pits, and can't focus. That looks quite smooth in there by the grease that's on there. The only problem is it's just not quite flat enough. We've removed a bit too much material. It's just not going to work. So that top cap's now junk. Really. But between these 4, I think we've got enough good parts to make 2 good ones. And these 2 ones, even though they look really dirty on the outside, and this one is as you see is pretty minging on the inside, the actual valve faces look a lot better. This one looks fantastic. This one, I'm not even going to need to replace the gaskets, quite frankly, because they're in fantastic condition. All the rubber parts look in really good condition, and the port face on here is come on, yeah, is, I mean, it's dirty, but it looks great. In fact, this one does actually run just about. The only reason I can't get it to run really good is because that doesn't seal against there particularly well at the minute, so I can't pull a lot of vacuum with my test setup. But it does actually work. So yeah, that one I'm really excited about. This one will become the driver's side for sure. Yeah. So, but this one is identical to that one. This one is identical to those 2. This one is mostly identical. The only difference is the valve set up on this one. It has this lever that hooks on there. But then we can take that off if we want to use this top cap, which we are going to, because that valve face is in much better condition. We'll put the valve and handle and everything off of one of the 2 ones we already have. So that is the plan. Yeah, make 2 good ones out of 4. Right, one done. It works. In fact, actually, all I really did was just rebuild this one because it was in such nice condition. I am going to swap out, obviously, the handle on this one from one of the original ones because it's already got the handle on it. It's whatnot, and also the little flat spring that's under here as well. I think that should be it then for that one. I might give them a bit of a clean up on the outside, but yeah, tested that one. It works perfectly. Really happy about that. So we are just gonna rebuild this one now. Pretty much the same. Oh, I did replace this. You see, I've cut one out of this piece of 1mm rubber stock. Yeah, we're going to do the same for this because it's also not in great condition. Otherwise, that's it. So yeah, I'll show you putting this one back together, and I'll show you making that as well. Yeah, cool. Let's get on with it. Okay, so we're going to start by drilling out. Where are we? Drilling out this old rivet. I'm going to drill it out this side. It's just going to drill the end off of this. Then we'll tap out the rest of the rivet. And that'll allow us to get this piece off and repair it. Well, make a new one. And there we go. What? Punch the pin in. Okay, right. Let's punch this pin out, shall we? And there we go. Okay, so there we go. That out of there. Where's the rat gone? Where's the rat gone? There it is. I found it. Just clean that off. Right, so you got this big washer, small washer, which is stuck to that, and then this sort of fibre, rubberized fibre gasket. So we're going to replace it with a piece of this. We use that one off of the other one because it's just a little bit more together. We'll line that up nicely with that. So you can see I'll just line that up with the edge of that. There we go. Then we can cut round it. Okay. Nice sharp scalpel, or X-Acto blade, or craft knife, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to punch that hole out in the middle. So get that hole punch, which is a 3mm punch. Give that a whack. I'm sorry, I'm blocking this completely, but there we go. There we go. Just join that little bit up there. I know they're not perfectly round, but they don't really need to be. As long as they cover the part they need to cover, it's not such an issue really. There we go. that'll do nicely. Like I said, as long as it seals on there, doesn't really matter how perfect it is. At least in my mind anyway. I'm sure somebody would disagree, but if it works, it works. And that's all that really matters. Right. It's on it, he says. Oh, come on. There we go. Right, we'll turn that round so it's the right way round. Basically, the point of that little the rubber disc we've just cut points that way. Points up that way. I'll show you obviously once it's done. Right, let's compress this down as best we can, and then let's go on the rivet gun. These rivets are barely long enough. I'll be back with you. Oh, not quite. Okay, right. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. That little tip needs to face up this way, which it mostly does. Didn't quite get this plate, as you can see. That rivet is only just long enough, only just barely long enough. I didn't quite get that compressed. Well, yeah, it just didn't quite grab, but I think that should be fine. Yeah, what you can't see is there's another metal piece under this, which is forms part of this sort of fibre rubber part, and the rivet's got a hold of that, so I don't think we're going to worry too much. Right, time to put this together. Now what we're going to do, those gaskets I made from one of the old ones, we're going to reuse them because they're in good condition. They've been pulled. They've been taken apart and put back together a few times, but otherwise there's nothing wrong. Those gaskets are great, and they are better than the old ones. The old ones aren't crazy bad, but they're not the best. Whereas the ones in this one over here, that we've just done, they were actually in pretty good condition. So. Right, let's see. So that one came off of there. Put you on there. There we go. Don't that look nice? And we've got our other one. And that one looks good too. So, set that aside over there. We'll put a little bit of grease in here. Then we'll grease this up. Pop that in there. We'll pop our top cap on. We'll apply a little bit of grease into here, perhaps a little around here. Put that up, and then it'll be putting the valve assembly together. Okay, now for this piece. Nice big dollop of grease in there. And literally, I'm just going to pack it underneath this washer like this. Yeah, pack it in there. A bit more in there. Then dump a load on here. And then we're going to go all the way around the outside. Literally going to smother this thing in grease, pretty much. It's a bit of a mucky job. I'm not the greatest fan of grease, if I'm honest. It just seems to get everywhere. But for some things like this, or what I actually bought that tub for. I'm really sorry. I'm doing a terrible job in filming this. So I was really trying to do things through a camera. There we go. Right. Look at it, isn't it lovely? All greasy and nasty and mucky and yuck. But it shall do the job just lovely. Just smear a bit of grease on there. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to put it in and then we're going to rotate it around to where it should be. So, in we go. Rotate it in. Get this in there. Get that seated in there. There we go. That's all done there. Have our top cap. Well, go a little bit more grease. Just grease up in there. Oh, he's pulled the gasket off. Oh, terrible job. Right, we'll just wipe a bit around here as well. That should do nicely. Oh. Okay, there we go, that's that. That's that batted. Get his gasket lined back up nicely. Right. There we go. On there. Right, screws. Oh, what's the... Right, that's that. Now for in here. Again, we're going to go in with a dollop of grease sort of everywhere in here, really. Just smear it in there. Something like that. And then our valve components, which are actually still got old grease on them. So, go in there. What's going on here? I don't even know how I managed to do that. So, this goes in there. That comes through there. And this. Oh. Right. So, before you go putting all that spring gubbins on, you actually need the valve. Because without it, you ain't going to do a lot of wipering. Wipering. It's terrible English. What is wipering? It's a new phrase. Right, there we go. That's in there like that. That flicks from left to right and kicks that valve left to right as the this wiper arm moves. So, spring clip out that one because I think there is slightly better. Yeah, I might use this valve piece as well because this is actually in quite nice condition. We are going to use the rubber on that one because it's, I think, slightly better than the one on the odd one. That like that, and then I am right. Right, so that on there. Like that. Spring washer with the larger hole that way. And then handle there. And feed your screw all the way through all of that. Hopefully find the screw out. Start screwing. Start screwing. Oh, come on, go in there. What's going on here? Yeah, it must be crossing. Look at the angle. Yeah, makes me wonder if consider the other one, you know, because this is a bit of a weird angle. There we go, that's the ticket. That looks better. Right, so, are we ready? Does it work? The answer is yes, correctly. Okay, there we go, all back together, and they both work correctly. So that makes me very happy. So yeah, well, I'll fit these off camera, and I'll bring you back for the stunning conclusion of them actually working in the truck. Oh, it's been a bit of a long haul, this one. The first video, we didn't really we cleaned them and put them back together again, hoping that would be enough. It wasn't. We put them back in the truck and they did nothing. Yeah, so we brought them back, we pulled them apart, and we did pretty much what we should have done in the first place. You know, replace the gaskets, replace some of the, remake those, which I did one of them. Re-greased, and I kind of was chasing my tail a little bit on issues. Initially, I thought vacuum was leaking from this gasket on the valve. I even went so far as to make a replacement out of the same 1mm rubber stock that we made the replacement ones of these out of. Turned out that wasn't the case. We were leaking on those enough that it was actually quite hard to hold vacuum enough to get them to do anything. And in fact, that one still hasn't done anything really. We bench tested, and they seemed to that one seemed to work a little bit, and then I came back to the workshop a couple of days later and bench tested it again, and it didn't do anything. So yeah, and then eventually, I put them back together, and then I couldn't figure out. I thought it might have been the gaskets, but we replaced those, and it turned out it was the flapper valve, which is when I really took a good long look at this, and you can see how well I've mullered it. But there was pitting, all over this surface, and yeah, in trying to get those pits out, I ended up with a surface that just wasn't flat. So that valve couldn't seal against it. In fact, that looks even worse close up on camera than it does to my own eyes, to be honest. So I was not happy at the end of that day, that evening of working on that. Anyway, £10 later, we bought ourselves 2 used ones that turned out to be in fantastic condition inside, despite how they look on the outside. We've taken a few little parts. Yeah, there was a broken part in this one, which we've used a part of there to replace, and we've got most of the valve assembly, the on and off switch assembly off of those, mainly because they've got handles on them, and they're a little nicer and cleaner, along with the springs are in better condition. So yeah, anyway, enough of that. I'll bring you back once they're on the truck, and we'll see them working, and then that'll be this video done, and we can forget about these. Unless it's raining, when we'll be thankful they work. Okay guys, so we're back in the truck, and obviously you can hear the engines running, so we'll pull the button out and see what happens. And the answer is not a great deal of anything. They do try to move just barely, so we'll push the button back in. Okay, so as you can see, not a lot of success there. I think we'll cut this one off here, and so there will be a part 3 of this. We chased our tail a little bit on this one. It took me a little while to sort of knuckle down and actually figure out how those vacuum wipers work. I.e., when the button's in, they're in the off position and it defaults to over here, and then when you pull it out, they then run on, essentially continuous, and when you push it back in, it then stops once it gets back over here. Whereas I'd originally thought that you pulled them out, they went one way, you pushed it in, it went the other way. The reason that seemed to it did that would have been because of the the fact they weren't working properly. Obviously I was pulling out and it was trying to go this way, and when I pushed it back in, obviously it's then trying to return to its default position. That's why it seemed that way, even though somewhere in my own mind I kind of thought to myself that did seem a bit strange. But anyway, we muddled through it. I finally figured out what was going on. I am now satisfied that those motors are now bang on. They work on the bench. When you put good vacuum to them, they run perfectly. I'm really happy with those. So yeah, we got a vacuum leak or dodgy vacuum pump. So yeah, that'll be the next video. Yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you on the next one.